Welcome to the KhunShawnVT podcast. I'm your host, KhunShawn. I have my awesome guest and co-host with me today. Co-host, we got Chaotic, like normal. We got Masashi, like normal. And today we have an old friend of mine, Lionheart. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You got this is where you guys
Yeah,
start
KhunShawn,
cheering.
well, I was about to start talking. Anyway, I was gonna say, hey, KhunShawn, it's good to be back, but
Yeah, good to be here for the first time.
good to
Yeah,
be
so
back, but here for the first time for the podcast.
yeah, it's crazy. Like getting into VTubers last no, like 2 years. No, it can't be 2 years. No way. I don't know,
It's
like a
been about
year
a
and a
year.
half. It's been some change. It's been a long minute. Lionheart was here when I was watching Nijisanji. Like that was like the first, besides Neurosama, like Nijisanji was the first corpo VTubing agency I watched, and I was deep and heavy into Nijisanji react. Oh, you can see that the videos are still on the channel, right? So Lionheart was around. It was good times, and then life happens. People get busy, and Lionheart wasn't watching VTubers for a minute, and he totally missed like a lot of the things that have gone down. Lionheart, you want to give your just like your life opinion and stuff about VTubing since you've been gone, and like how it's changed and all the things you missed before we go on to our first topic.
Sure. So pretty much, I stopped watching. Well, I wouldn't say I stopped watching. I just haven't had the time to really like watch VTubers for a while. I didn't even notice
Understandable.
like that there were like I think like what 2 or 3 new waves for Niji En.
Mm,
And back when I was watching, I was definitely like I was always split between Niji and Hololive.
mm,
Um, so kind of coming back to some random clips, um, I was kind of surprised to see that there was this there's a like kind of like a I guess a topic or debate on hating on Anna from Niji,
mm,
and I couldn't find it. Like I tried doing some Google searches and I couldn't really find any like context to that
mm,
aside from old stuff that's not related to I guess what it was about.
mm,
So um, I watched KhunShawn's video from 6 months ago with him and Chaotic kind of going on a discussion about that, and I was kind of curious, for some more information since from what I did see, it was kind of like you know, I know something, but I can't say. So that's why I was like, all right, well, I need some context. So
mm.
then I reached out to the boys to find out a little bit more of what's going on since I haven't been in the loop of things for a while.
Yeah, and yeah, Lionheart sent me a message earlier today, like asking and talking about it, and I gave my 2 cents on like me personally separating like the art from the artist. It's like for me, it's possible, but it is a little bit more tricky on my end as a content creator and someone that's had like small interactions with Inna and other people that are in the community. Like Tenma just showed up again recently. Shout out to Tenma. Um, I'm in a space where it's like I don't know them as people, but I'm like we're peers. We are peers, even though I enjoy their content from more of a like entertainment section, we're still peers. So like the things that I can say and how I feel, it's like I do got to be careful with how I word it because anybody can take it and run with it from any situation. But overall, I would say like I'm fond of Enna Alouette when it comes to content. Like I don't know her personally, and even though I feel like she isn't someone that does crazy things, I don't know her. Like point blank period. I don't know that person. So it was an interesting conversation we had about it, and I was thinking, oh, we could turn it into a pod because there's there's still a conversation to be had about everything that went down with the Dokibird and Nijisanji situation. It's been 6 months, and I think we've had enough time to look and see what has been going on in Niji. Like currently, of course, nothing good still. Um, and then Doki, of course, is just getting success and win after win. And I brought the boys together, Masashi, Chaotic, and we did chat what maybe like 30 minutes before we decided, hey, let's go ahead and make it a pod. Chaotic, Masashi, you guys, Masashi is here mostly because like he's definitely the lore guy. Like if you're ever confused on something, like Masashi, that's the guy. Uh, Chaotic, because he was in the last video we made 6 months ago about the situation in general. Um, there's more context, and I think there's more things we can talk about. So that's why we brought it back to you guys, the audience. So welcome aboard. Uh, the reevaluation of the Doki and Niji conversation, or Ina and how she is conversation.
It's funny that I am basically like the lore guy on a lot of the VTuber situations.
Uh,
Given that I don't really have much time to watch a lot of stuff because I work,
uh,
but somehow I get all the tea. So
Not somehow, bro. You be out there digging and looking. Like last pod, he was like, "Oh, let me go look up these receipts. This person hasn't streamed in 3 months. Let me go find out why." Like, come on, bro.
yeah,
Bro
I
goes the
look
extra mile.
but I try to look at this stuff, but it's funny because I have the time to watch live,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the fact that I still get to know the context of a lot of stuff, it says a lot of how much I want to dig into stuff to know the context and understand the situations.
Mhm. So speaking of context and situation, um, Lionheart, can you let the people know like what you were, because we already discussed it, but we basically have to retread old ground. Lionheart and
I get
Chaotic
you, I get you.
specifically had a great conversation, a great back and forth. Um, I definitely love these two to discuss more what was going on in that conversation. If you two if you two could double back to when we were talking about after we were talking about what was going in the minds of like the Nijisanji host. So Lionheart, when you were talking about how Dokibird would troll excessively in like collaborations, um, could you double back on that, please?
Yeah, I can. So, full disclaimer, as I mentioned earlier, I have been out of the loop on a lot of what's going on, including the drama. So this is more so me just trying to figure out what's going on, but also adding my 2 cents on what I have heard so far
Mm, mm,
and whatnot.
mm,
Um, so in regards to that, yeah. So one thing I will bring up in terms of things that could have led up to any kind of frustrations or animosities between other peers in her past life with Nijisanji.
mm,
Um, so one thing to remember is that they're all content creators, they're all streamers, and they're all trying to entertain their audiences simultaneously in group collabs.
yep.
And one thing that I will say that I can see creating some frustrations when collabing with Doki is that the way she will troll sometimes can be a bit it's a bit focused on a specific target sometimes.
Mm,
An example of this would be the collab with I think it was Vox, Doppio, and I don't remember who the fourth one was, but they're playing some kind of like strategy game or whatever, and
mm,
there was a huge like focus on pretty much preventing Vox from being able to progress or even like really play the game, and it became kind of like the others kind of also ended up dogpiling on him off of that. Oh, it was I forgot the dude's full name, Fuchan, whatever his full actual name is.
Fuchan, Fuchan. That sounds so
Cyborg
correct.
dude.
Oh,
Fulgar?
Folger. Yeah, yeah, Folger.
Fulgur, there you go, Fulgur.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
Masashi's
Fulgur.
here.
Yeah. Okay, good. Anyway, so like one thing I want to point out is Vox was also in that PR video where they were kind of like shitting on Doki basically
Mm,
on that on Alira's channel or whatever. And just something I've noticed is that like one thing that can lead up to some of these things is like you're trying to have fun with a group of friends, and someone's making the game unfun while
ah,
you're still having to maintain pretty much the streaming persona
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
what
yeah,
have you.
yeah.
Um, so one thing that can one thing I can see being a leading factor into any kind of ill will towards Doki is her trolling can be a bit excessive, and it can be frustrating to play with when you're kind of the game along with, and you're kind of like the one being heavily focused on by a troll who's not letting you really play and enjoy the game, but you still have to like kind of fake it to make it type of deal, you know, like make sure everybody else knows that, oh, there's nothing serious going on here, it's just all fun, haha.
Yeah, to
but,
keep the stream running. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Because one thing to consider is that, you know, this other person's also a content creator and a streamer, and if you're preventing them from being able to make content or have their audience enjoy the content that they would get from their streamer, you're pretty much preventing that. Now, I do also want to mention, I don't support or condone the end results of what happened to Doki and any of that, but I do at least want to bring awareness to, you know, there are things that could have led up to this that could have been addressed sooner. I don't know if there was any communications between peers on, hey, do you mind not doing that in the, you know, other collabs, or it's also possible that people don't want to say anything because they don't want to be the buzzkill of the group.
And that's also true. The points of views, yeah.
Yeah. So it's another factor too of even Doki may not have been self-aware of the fact that how her trolling can affect other people sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, all we have is really speculation. We don't know who said what or if there was ever a discussion. But just kind of noticing who was involved in the PR video kind of shitting on Doki, you can kind of piece together the people that she's maybe trolled a bit too much or has done something that people can find frustrating in collabs or in general.
I could see that. And that's why I wanted to have the pod for like the different perspective, because I never even like when I watched, I didn't see like I know that she would troll, but I didn't watch as much as say other people do. Like actually watch the lives. Like people know I watch like the clips and the VODs and the vids that are sent in. But when it comes to actually knowing or watching, I didn't really know. So whenever the black screen video came out 6 months ago, and like the Doki bullying and all that stuff was going on, it's like, you know, why are they doing this? And you know, I can kind of get the perspective of why. You know, it sucks that they would stoop to bullying. It's definitely something you could have had a conversation about behind closed doors, and if you needed to, you could have addressed it publicly. But it didn't have to result in bullying, right? That being said, I just didn't know. I didn't know like Doki would troll excessively during collaborations. So now that I like that I'm aware of this information, it's like, okay, I guess I can kind of see how it turned out the way that it did turn out. And I wish it didn't. Honestly, this is something that could have been solved with just communication, at least from like what it sounds like and what we can see and what's perceived to the public. Because like we said, we don't really know what went on behind closed doors. Maybe they did have these conversations and it kept going, right? Nobody knows. And then Chaotic was bringing up a lot of points as well. Chaotic, could you chime in?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was saying, like, regardless of, like, what happened of the trolling Dokibird did, maybe, let's say, you know, she wasn't aware of it and, alleged bullies, didn't say anything. At the end of the day, it's their fault. It doesn't really matter, like, let's say they don't have a conversation about it, like, Dokibird then can't do anything about it if she's so, like, unaware of this, you know? Like, their immediate response is not to, let's say, not to talk to her about it, not to reach out to management to let them know about it, but rather, their first instinct is to gang up and bully.
Perceived first instinct, we have no idea. But it's also tricky when you talk about management, because the management, as we all know, on Nijisanji's side has always been slipping. Always. Since India.
Yeah, but even if they are slipping, it should never be that, you know, end result.
I agree.
Basically.
I agree.
At the same time, one thing you have to consider too is like we don't know what exactly the bullying like entailed. Because bullying is kind of a vague term nowadays. Because back in the day, it used to be, oh, you actually like, you know, wedgie somebody or like actually beat somebody up. But now bullying is kind of vague. because one thing to consider too is that we say that she was bullied, but that could also be a form of they just ignore her or they isolate her and leave her alone, and
I
she
would
didn't.
assume it to be malicious, considering the fact she wanted to game over.
Game over.
True, but at the same time though, some people have certain types of sensitivities to a lot of things, and there have been people who've been led to that way of thinking over things that are perceived by some folks as very minor, while others can perceive it as
Major.
something serious. Yeah, like people take things differently. Some people are more thick-skinned than others, and some people are not. And I will say, like, in my profession where I deal with a lot of people in my day-to-day, like my job, I mean, I don't mind sharing it. I work in security, and I work in like a train station, and there have been times where people get really triggered by a certain by someone's action or whatever, and some people will just not be bothered by it at all. To give an example of that, we had a lady who literally was flipping out because somebody was playing music on their phone a little bit louder than they should have. And when I say a little bit, I mean like it was just audible from like 10 feet away, and she was bothered by that. It wasn't any kind of like inappropriate music of any kind. She was bothered by that because in her eyes, nobody's allowed to play any kind of music.
Okay.
Meanwhile, nobody else around her, cared. But she ended up creating the hostilities and the problems that required me to get involved.
I can get
But
that.
again, the perception is some people aren't bothered by that.
Yeah. And then there's some people that are.
Yeah. Now, to kind of segue back into my point with Doki is that we don't know what the bullying pertained to and how it affected her. And for typically somebody who goes down to the decision of, game over, there's usually something more deep-rooted there that could, trigger someone's depression to escalate that far. She could have had something that she's dealt with for her whole life that made her more susceptible to these types of, feelings.
I can get that.
And that's coming from somebody who has kind of dealt with, depression and mental illness growing up.
Yeah. So, to continue and move forward in the conversation, when it comes to now, right? It's been 6 months since all of this and all these things that have happened. What is your guys's come on, somebody help me out. Somebody help me out.
Consensus.
Thank you. I always struggle with this word. I don't know what it is. But what would be your consensus on looking at, let's say, the Niji clique now? Do you still see these people as malicious? Or do you think it was a misunderstanding? I'm asking specifically like Lionheart because like you've been out of the loop for a minute, but have you like watched them recently?
I haven't watched any of them recently, but I do know a lot of kind of like what happened during the time that Doki was interested, where she was trying, the game over thing. So I did see the PR video and all that stuff, and I feel the same way about it that I felt about like other PR videos that they put out when it's like about other streamers. For example, I don't even know what, I forgot her current life, but previously Zion, when they did their little PR video, when they did their there you go, when they did her PR video, it was pretty much her whole gen basically just kind of shitting on her, with the exception of Doppio. And the same thing they did with Doki, but instead of it being her generation, it was specific people that they decided to use. And the fact that they used Alira's specific channel to post a video, it raises red flags. Like, to me, anybody who would be willing to kind of speak on that, they're either felt the same way as what they were saying, or the company pushes some kind of narrative and maybe they were offered something. Who knows? I can't really speak on that 100%. But it's odd to me that you're willing to say all that stuff. Especially when it seemed like there was really nothing going on between the two of them, or whoever was involved. But in particular, specifically with which I don't remember who was all in Doki's PR video. I know it was Solen. They're not. It was Alira, Vox, and who else?
Ike.
Ike.
Ike
Oh,
Evelyn.
okay. Okay, yeah, that actually one kind of surprised me. But then looking back on it, she does kind of troll him a lot too. But I don't know if Ike is just sensitive or what, because I can't really recall a specific instance that it felt excessive for Ike, unless Ike just doesn't take certain things well.
I don't know. I can't really touch on that one because I have no idea, like at all.
Yeah, because I can't really remember too much with Ike and Doki. But I can at least recall things with Vox and Doki. There was quite a few collabs, and I will say that she does have a history of like kind of like messing with Vox.
Okay. People that have watched Doki recently, do you guys still feel this type of troll energy or trolling? Because I watch her in clips, but it's usually like a solo clip, so I'm not too sure. I haven't watched like the Say Gem Slam or anything like that. Too specific to see if she's changed or if she's the same. If you guys, Masashi, I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen like bits of it, like just like I clicked the live stream of like let's say Lily Pichu or something like that, or something like, oh, I see Doki live. Okay, I click, but I'm just there for like a couple minutes.
Okay.
So I haven't really been, there, right?
Yeah, so I don't think we really have much to even go on with the discussion. So
Yeah.
unless you have anything you want to add to it, I mean, we can move on to like the next topic.
Well, I mean, the main thing this really stemmed from, where this came from, was like my stance on the whole thing is because it originated with a video that was about, can you separate art from the creator or whatever,
Yeah,
or the artist?
art from the artist. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, as I like to look at things from a very realistic standpoint. I'm never gonna meet these artists in person, nor do I really have like a desire to, because I don't think it's if I were to meet them in person, it would be like probably like a fan meet and greet. But I'm not even that kind of fan when it comes to any of the media that I get into. So for me, I always viewed like content creators as well, this one's really enjoyable right now, and if they fall off, then to me it's no different than, I'm watching this new hit anime, and then it dies off or ends, and then I go on to the new one.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
for me,
not too
content.
parasocial.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. I don't get parasocial. I don't get attached to the person behind the screen. It's easy for me to just enjoy the content without having to be wrapped up in the person's personal life.
Yeah.
This is also very like the reason why I also wanted to like talk about this in general is like your perspective is actually pretty healthy, because this discussion, it's very emotional filled, whether it's on one side or the other. It's very emotional heavy. So to hear somebody come out and say, well, I can see why, not necessarily why the bullying would happen, but I can see why people would have an issue with Dokibird. I think that's a healthy discussion to have, and a conversation that should be had. Not everybody's gonna like everybody, and I think a lot of people forget that. Just because you're a fan of Doki or a fan of Ina or a fan of whoever doesn't mean the person right next to you is also gonna enjoy them for the same reasons, for one, or even like them.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the open discussion.
There's actually one more thing I do want to bring up too, is that because like I can see like the perception of people listening to what I'm saying, I can see their first thought is victim blaming, because Doki's negative situation, which was the intent for game over, and
yeah,
and
that's
Chaotic
serious.
also mentioned earlier that regardless of the intent or whatever, they resorted to bullying, which ended up leading to Doki wanting to game over. However, one thing to also consider too is that yes, Doki was in the worst, I guess, position out of this whole thing, but and it's not, and it's not victim blaming, because if you think about it, let's look at this is going to be a bit, I got to segue into like a more serious topic, but people who end up committing mass
Game over. Game over.
mass game mass game over with ranged tools, so to speak. Those people don't just make that decision because I just woke up one day and I'm going to do it. Something triggers these people to go the way they do, or go do the things that they do, and it's usually stems from some form of harassment, bullying, whatever. Now, because Doki chose the decision of it affecting herself, she is now seen as the singular victim. But if it was someone else who decided to use that depression or whatever to affect other people, then those other people are now the victims. So you have to remember too that
it's about the action taken.
It's everything involved, because like you can't just this person wouldn't have done the same things if this person wasn't involved, but this person wouldn't have done what they did had they felt the type of way due to other person. So like it works both ways. Now, like I said, and it's some people were affected a very specific way as a result, and others were not. But the point is that I'm trying to make is that everybody involved did something that led to what ended up happening.
Yeah, I would say that. Like, yeah, everybody's involved, of course, 100%. Like, they're all in the company, they're all working together. If issues happen, like, yeah, it definitely involves all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to say, this is the fault of management not doing anything, but every single one of these livers are full-grown adults who can be accountable for their own actions and what they do, but also being self-aware and open to how your actions affect others, both as on the bully side and the victim side. The question you have to ask yourself sometimes is, why are they treating me like this, or why why are they treating me like this? And that works on both sides.
That is true. Yeah.
Because from let's use Vox as an example. From Vox's perspective, why is she trolling the hell out of me so much? It's making it unfun for me. But then on Doki's side, why are they I don't really know what they did to bully, but just throw an example out there. Why are they like isolating me, or like whatever?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that every effect has a cause. Stuff doesn't just happen for no reason. Chaotic, you have anything to add? Bro, so quiet.
I'm good.
All right, he's good. All right. Well, I mean, honestly, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Lionheart, and honestly, I understand the take, and I agree with majority of what you have to say about it. But yeah, it's definitely just a lot of people are going to be emotionally charged about it. I think the way you phrased it and worded it, I think is rational enough for anybody to legitimately process it and say, okay, I can get the perspective.
The problem is there's too much unknown that we have to just speculate.
That is true. But yeah.
That's why for me, I just take like more of a neutral approach, because I don't want to pick one side definitively, because one person had a more negative outcome out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep. You always have to ask why.
I get that. I respect that. Okay. Well, there it is. I mean, that sounds good. That's a good way to wrap it up. When it comes to the perspective of, what's the reason why this happened, right? Why would this happen, or how did it get so far, and whatnot? And like you showing or bringing the conversation of, hey, sometimes Doki trolls a little too much. That's something that could lead into what happened, which probably is why everything that happened. But there's still more unknown variables, of course. We don't know it all.
I just can't see it being jealousy from her success, because I feel like those involved are already like pretty successful in their respective like fields. like the boys were like specifically the first gen of the boys, which I can't remember the name or off the top of my head.
Luxia.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. They were like they were the most successful wave like in EN, and then with Illyra being part of the first gen, they were already super successful out the gate, and I believe her
Well-
sub count was also pretty significant.
Well, why do the richer want to be richer?
Why do
Basically the
people
same
with
thing.
power want more power? I think that's the one.
Yeah, that's why a
Both
lot of
work.
people speculate. A lot of people speculate that that Illyra is like either she is management or she is like the intermediator. That's what is the like the middleman?
Yeah, the intermediator.
Yeah, intermediator between JP management and EN management. But as far as we know, apparently EN management is barely existent. From what is being said on the internet, on Reddit, 4chan, Twitter, yada yada, right? So, in regards of the video, the black video, or
The black
however you
screen
want to,
video.
yeah, the black screen video. I don't think Ike really cared much about the thing. He just wanted to put his piece, I guess, because he doesn't seem like he actually cared. But Elera and Box were like the ones that were like more upset about the whole thing. Elera mentioning that apparently Millie's and her name were on the documents that they were shown without permission. Says a lot about who the quote unquote the clique is, who the clique are. Everybody says that the clique are the best friends that are Melly, Anna, and Elera, right?
Yeah, that would be the click.
Yeah. I don't know about Vox. Yeah, supposedly, yeah. I don't know about Vox. I would say probably, but that's just my opinion. Because he seemed one of the most upset about the whole thing, right? But I would say the trio. That's how I'm gonna say. They were close friends for a long while before DG, right?
Yeah.
And allegedly, Millie and Anna were Nepo hires because, again, best friends, right? With best friends.
You can say that or good. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's like a those two were best friends with Elera, which is the first generation. Like, probably Elera had some, had some input on their hiring, right? But that, like I said, is just a maybe.
So here's my counter argument to that: is that the only way I can see them being so like you can make the argument that they're a Nepo hire due to their friendship or whatever, but you also have to consider too that Millie already has previous experience being a VTuber, so she already has content and she has a portfolio to show why she should get the position. You know, Alira could probably speak on her behalf or whatever to say something. Maybe, who knows? I don't really know how the process works. And then for Anna, again, she also, I believe, she knows Japanese. She also is a really good singer, which is something they look for, and also she has a history of having some kind of content out there on the internet. So they already have the experience to make them more valuable than some random person that just applied. And also remember too, like this was like early Niji where I don't think they even knew where they were going with it yet.
Yeah. I get it.
They could be nepo hires, but they also are talented. These things can be the same.
But at the same time, though, you can also make the same argument for some of the other EN's livers as well, because they all were associated with one another in their previous lives.
Yeah, they were all like in like a Discord full of like up and coming content creators, from what I can remember.
Yeah, so then it just makes sense that all these people who were associated or whatever all have like some kind of content to use as like a portfolio, or it could just be a whole web of nepotism. You never know. But at the same time, maybe somebody knows somebody within Nijisanji. Who knows? Maybe Illyria could be more so a middleman to somebody who is, I guess, higher up that's doing some kind of decision making, or who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
maybe. Who knows?
For me, just looking for me when it comes to Illyria, it just seems kind of, to me, for me it feels like it's delving into the realm of like conspiracy theories, with Illyria being management.
Huh.
Yeah, so I think because she's Gen 1 or Wave 1, and also the perceived leader of the first wave, she has the same kind of like, I guess, standpoint as, say, we'll go with Tokino Sora or Mito, but for like Niji En.
I have no input, so this is either going to be Masashi or Chaotic, if either one of them want to add to that point or challenge it or not.
There's nothing I can add.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have my like personal opinion on the matter based on what's known, right? Based on what's known, and my heart has the counter argument that I can agree, that I actually can agree that we can see it on the other perspective, right? Because at the end of the day, they are all talented. They all have talent. So
yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Cool. We've come to an impasse. All right.
If we just had something more definitive or concrete to like actually use as like information, it would clear up a lot. But at the same time, I feel like if any of that information does come up, it can affect both sides very negatively.
Yeah.
True. It could.
Because if it turns out, like the bullies on EGN were, really truly did something very heinous, obviously they're going to go down. But at the same time, who's to say they won't go down swinging against Doki, and it can impact her negatively as well? And let's say, and if it's on the other side where Doki overreacted in some kind of capacity, then it could be really bad, because now the people on the quote-unquote bully side were pretty much seen as, the villains for no apparent reason, just based on, Doki's side of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possible retaliation on both ends, depending on no matter who comes out as like the truthful bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about what I enjoy about this podcast specifically. Like, there's no concrete yes or no or whatever. It's just the conversation in general. I just like having the conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
I do like the theorization though.
I'm not a theory guy. That's what you guys are here for. Yeah, I'm just like listening, bro. I'm not the theory guy. I like perspectives, though. Like, we could talk about a perspective.
Okay, go ahead.
I was saying I'm the perspective
if I
guy.
watched if I watched more consistently, then maybe I would be able to like pick a side more. But I feel like I'm being too neutral, because I just don't know what the fuck's been going on.
Nah, there's no such thing as true neutral. Nah, that's all good. Like the only people that say pick a side, that's somebody that has like some type of emotional connection to whichever side that they're picking. And if you don't have an emotional connection, then you don't, and that's okay. You don't need to be emotionally connected to this or that. Um, but I do like having the neutral. Like it's okay to be neutral because at the end of the day, we're just spectators in their game of life. We're just the fan base and the community. We're not them. And as much as we want to, or we can think, oh, this is how they should act, or this is what I think this person would do, you don't really know because we don't really know them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still take a side based on moral standpoint
Oh,
if it's
you
not
could.
like
You could.
doesn't have to be or personal beliefs.
You could. You could. I mean,
Like for example, like
if you want to.
to give an example, like let's say, since I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very big fan of Anna's content. Turns out she's the big bad here, right? Again, so based on that, I will say or I'll side with Doki and say Doki is right. However, it goes back to how I feel about content and the creator. I'll still enjoy Anna's content. I'll just think that she's an asshole, but she's pretty funny.
Yeah. I totally get that. I've already said myself that I enjoy her content. And even though it's tricky for me a little bit, like I can separate art from the artist, sure, but it's different whenever you're also an artist. If like two famous people have an argument, the fan base can look and say something freely because it's the fan base versus another famous person also coming in to the conversation. And it's like, at that point, it gets very tricky. So that's why it's like, for me, I just like, yeah, I'll watch these clips of Inna and I'll be like, yeah, Inna's funny and I'll laugh at Inna, but I don't really, unless I have a conversation with her, I can't really put a ground stance on me liking her as a person or as the content creator. I like the content, but the content creator, I don't know that person or the real person because it's not the same. For me, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, it's KhunShawn, right? But for others, they legitimately have a character, like Dr. Disrespect, right? That is a character until it became the real Dr. Disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, I'm glad we had this discussion.
I mean, so talking about now, right?
Uh,
Doki, what's right now with Doki? What's right now with Niji, right?
uh,
Right now, Niji's stock has been going down because a lot of bullshit happening, and the recent incident that happened.
yeah, we talked about it in the last podcast. Check it out. W plug.
And right now, Doki had a situation with an ex-director of her
Oh
company.
yeah. Let's check that out because I haven't seen that. I actually have that video pulled up right here. Thank you for the segue. Masai, you want to speak on it? You can speak on it before we get into the video. You definitely speak on it.
Let me just pull out the Doki's statement because she made a statement.
Is it in the false video?
I guess probably, but I want to read it.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's the statement. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I got the statement. If it's on the video, then
Is it this long one?
Which one?
Merch update. We've been getting a lot of emails about this. I just wanted to make an official announcement.
No, I'm watching the one that says indie. Let me show you real quick.
Okay.
A quick screenshot.
What's the timestamp?
He sent it in the Discord. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So let's
That's
pull
the one
this. Let's pull this up. Can't zoom it in for you guys, but you go ahead and read it, Masashi. Let's hear it.
So it says, Doki says, in the end, I am now the new and only director of my own company. I at first thought to appoint someone else to act as a director to handle the more business side of things, as I just want to focus on being a creative. I lack the experience and the knowledge to really run the company, and I thought it was best to appoint the position to someone else. However, every staff I have hired had a horror story that was related to my ex-director. Although the workload is much more heavier, I realize the only person I can trust is myself for my brand. I've recently hired a few lawyers, and new financial advisors to help me on this new journey and teach me how to be a proper businesswoman. It
LOL.
might have been, yeah, it might have been more expensive in the long run, but I just want to make people happy and laugh with me without my dragoons worrying about anything else. I really appreciate everyone's patience, and I stumble and try to find my foodie. That's her statement.
Okay. I think that's yeah, that's good. It's good that she's taking her business into her own hands. I'll say that. You know, when it
But
comes,
but
go
is
ahead.
it healthy though?
Huh? Is it
Is it
healthy?
healthy though? Yeah. I mean, I know she's a workaholic, but being
Uh, I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's healthy or not, it's up to her to find that middle ground of healthiness because, of course, like trying to do 12-hour streams and then after that, you still have to talk to lawyers and then talk about merch and then do all that. That's crazy. So she does need to sacrifice something, whether it's the stream output or maybe stop selling merch. She has to figure that out on her own. I mean, that's just part of
Mhm.
business in general.
I don't know about business, so that's why we have you and chaotic on that.
Yeah, chaotic. We can talk about the business aspects.
Mm.
Chaotic.
All right, I was. Give me.
Oh, you were
Bro,
Just
muted.
got it.
you good?
While he's while he's collecting his thoughts or whatever he's doing, do you mind if I chime in?
Yeah, yeah, jump in.
So, just based on reading this alone, um, again, there's going to be a lack of information that we don't know. But when it comes to the ex director and previous people that she hired and fired, I guess,
Uh,
um, due to previous, I guess, her previous history with her previous company and her experiences, there's a lot of it seems like there's a lot of difficulties for her to trust anybody, and
mm,
I think there's a possibility that she can kind of lead down to self isolation without realizing it. She's not trusting. Well, again, I'm speculating based on this, but it seems like she doesn't trust kind of like anyone who may have any sort of affiliation with previous stuff, or it could even be that she just has trouble trusting anybody now, other than people that she is already close to, that she can trust, that she already trusts prior. And the problem with that is that,
well,
as you
what
mentioned
what
before, she's huh?
what makes you say this? Because it sounded like she just had a bad manager and she just fired his ass or director.
She mentioned that there were multiple, if I remember correctly, right? Hold on,
Um,
No,
I'm rereading it right now.
she had a director of
she
the
had
company,
multiple
right?
people
The
have
CEO.
issues with that director.
Yeah, but is it a director or a CEO?
I mean, he just
She's a
he
director.
director slash manager. I mean, she does everything. It's her company at the end of the day. Dokibird is her. And she just hired somebody to do the business aspect. And then that person that's in charge of business, when you're in charge of business, you're in charge of finances, you're in charge of scheduling, you're in charge of making sure the product is working. Besides just the entertainment value, there's outside issues that go on when it comes to business and hiring a director. It's not bad to hire somebody, especially if you don't know how to do it. I don't blame her for wanting to hire somebody else, but it wasn't that she didn't, not only she didn't know how to do it, she didn't want to do it. I remember seeing the clip where she was like, yeah, I hired somebody because I just wanted to play games. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, but that's your company, you know. But I get it. I can get why
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to do it. Business isn't for everybody.
Yep, I agree. I am one that is like I don't know anything about business at
Yeah.
all.
But if you want to have a brand, you gotta get involved with it. You just have to. You can't
I
really
doubt
avoid it.
I doubt this would be healthy, because I mean, she talks about the workload's going to be much heavier, and that's in itself is like almost an understatement, because there's like so absolutely so much work that goes into like product overseeing merch, running your own streams, uh, background art, like so many different aspects. And if she's gonna, try to do it herself, I hope that, she obviously take cares of her own health, because um, things like this, like overworking yourself, though it seems, I don't know, I don't really watch Dokibird, but it seems like she's a workaholic. Uh, it can lead to just like its own like mental issues
Yeah.
that will
It
just
can.
like in the end negatively affect her.
I mean, we have a sort of a same situation with Callie, that she is also a workaholic, and she has had some health issues because of overworking. So
Yeah.
Hers is a
I
little, I'd say, is a little bit different.
yeah,
She's part of a company. Doki is
her own.
her own entity.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
she
Callie has
has
a lot of
less
resources.
resources. Yeah, she has less. Dokibird has less resources to work off of. Callie is definitely a workaholic that wants to keep doing project after project, but at the same time, she also has a lot of resources to work with doing that.
Yeah.
yeah.
She has management.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of Callie's struggles come from she feels like it may seem like she feels like she's not living up to the expectations that she's creating for herself. Because she
I,
definitely has the resources to succeed and do
I
what she
could
wants to do.
I could see that. She definitely talks about it. Not frequently, but she talks about it enough to where I notice it's like, yeah, man. Uh, every time I see a clip or a video of her talking about how she perceives herself in Hollow Life, I'm like, girl, relax. Like you were freaking successful, but it always takes an outside perspective to let you know that. And unless she could really understand it for herself, she might always feel this way, unfortunately. No matter whatever she does next, like the music video she did
Mhm.
with Konami, the Snake song, like that's big. She's been on Japanese news. That's big. She's made lots of music and she's created dream projects with people that she's always wanted to do it with. Like that's big, and it still feels like it's not enough for her. It's definitely a very personal issue she has to try and
Yeah.
figure out.
So one thing I do
yeah,
kind of want to mention regarding Callie is that, and I'm not her, so I can't really say how she actually feels, but
Yeah.
it definitely seems like when she joined Hololive, she kind of got pushed out of doing like rap, which it seemed like was her main passion for genre music, like the genre of music, and now she's getting pushed more to like a certain style of like her music that is vastly different than what she initially was doing. I don't know if that was a personal choice or if she feels like she had to kind of stray that way to fit with like Hololive's, I guess, vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the idol aesthetic.
Yeah, because when you look at a lot of the music that she does, that's really that like for like bigger projects. She's done like I think she did like an opening or an ending for some animes or some kind of like games or something or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's for one, it's impressive that her being a foreigner is getting to do these things, but at the same time, just because you get to do something amazing, do you enjoy doing this amazing thing?
That's an interesting perspective, huh?
Because like
Yeah,
one thing you could say is you can be really good at something, but it may not be something you enjoy.
I could get that. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely very hip hop. Like I'll say that for a fact. Like Callie is definitely hip hop, and I think she's doing a good enough job introducing hip hop to idol culture. But idol culture is not hip hop. But to put pieces inside of it, I think is fine. But yeah, if I mean, she really loves hip hop, so I could get that. As much as you want to have like Watame rapping, that's awesome, and to put it into the music, the idol music, I think it's awesome, but it's not, congruent to the exact same, I guess, type of vibe she wants to fit with.
Yeah, because like when it comes to like rap and like idol type stuff, it's very doable. If you look at, for example, look at KDA for like the League of Legends music.
Mm,
Like they incorporate like that. To me, that looks very pop idol type of like vibe, but they're throwing in rap that fits it, you know. But I think it's a very specific style of rap that's different from Cali's, I'd say.
mm,
Like
yeah.
how to explain this? All right, if you look at like certain female rappers from like let's say like the early 2000s or 90s, their style of like rap kind of fits, you know, like it, the best way I could describe it is imagine like Beyonce or Destiny's Child in a rap style that is still feminine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While I feel like Cali had a rap style that was more tuned to be more on the male side of things.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, hip hop in general is just always changing. But it changes with more of time and more timeline. So at the same, even though what she's doing is cool and what KDA does is really cool, the style that I hear from Cali or Demon Dice is definitely more not underground, but it's more rugged. It's more tough. It's more street, right? And
You
these
know
things,
what?
huh?
You know what reminds me of Cali's rap style?
What's that?
Oh, not Cali's. Demon Dice
Uh,
rap style. There is a subgenre of rap of hip hop in Germany that is like a very uh, aggressive rap style,
I've
and
heard it.
the way, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Mhm. I've heard it.
So, um, Demon Dice, her songs have the same vibe that it gives me the same vibe of those German rappers. You know,
Mhm.
that's how I feel.
The energy.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I get that. And how can you balance that, or how can you do that with Idol? You can put pieces of it with Idol, but it's never gonna be like 1-to-1 because Idol ain't
no,
like that. Idol is not like that. So.
I mean Jago's Dream.
Hmm.
Am I wrong?
No, 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 no. I think it's, bro. How the hell did we even start talking about Cali's?
Because of workaholic.
Because he's a workaholic.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
talking about workaholics.
okay. So we're talking
Yeah,
about
Doki.
workaholics, talking about Cali, right?
Talking about Callie
Yeah.
and Doki being workaholics.
Hmm,
So
okay.
to kind of go backwards a little bit to that the thing that the what is it that comment that or that post from Doki. So
Mhm.
earlier you asking me like why do I think what I was saying earlier? So another thing to kind of like support or explain why I'm I'm thinking what I said whatever is because her word choices, some of the things that she says kind of like make it seem like she's losing trust in others and is pushing people away. So for example, right here at the very beginning, in the end I am now the new and only director of my own company. Like the verbiage alone is very self-isolating.
I
On top
thought
of that,
I
it
thought this would be a run-on from like a previous tweet because she's tweeted like 3 different tweets as well, at least from what I've
Mhm.
seen in the false video. So I thought this was more of
Yeah.
a run-on because she said like, I'm unsure exactly how many orders. Right, so she's talking about orders and stuff like this. I don't even know um the timeline of the tweets. Right. So this one, when did this tweet come out? In the end, what time was that? What did I say?
Which one? The
Two
one I
two.
presented?
Yeah, is that 2:17 p.m.? This one is 5:34 p.m. So this one came out earlier. So this would be like the start of the timeline then, I guess,
Yeah.
comparatively, anyways.
My point though is like her word choices, like her word choices are the kind of what make me feel like like what she's saying is kind of like what I was saying earlier. Because what is it? In the end, pretty much to me, my perspective on that, or like, my interpretation of her saying "in the end" is she basically gave up on looking for someone else to help her out. Because she and then later on she mentions, like what was that? The only one I can like trust is myself. Like just her word choices, like kind of paint a picture of she's given up on asking for help or looking for help, and that she's pretty much she'd rather just do everything herself. Like it's a very self-isolating like choice of like verbiage.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's.
But when you also look at what she's experienced, it's not unusual for her to go down that line of thinking.
Okay, I see. You're putting it all together then. You're putting it all together from Niji to the recent issue with her managed or director, former director. Okay, I can see what you're. I can see the puzzle. And for that, I will say, Doki, you can do it, girl. You can find somebody that'll actually help you and believe in your dreams with you. It's just not going to be easy, of course. And running a business is never something you can really do on your own, especially when it comes to entertainment. Like, how can you be the entertainer and be the management and be the director and do the merch and do advertising, right? By yourself? Shit, okay.
Like one thing I would suggest for her
needs backup.
is, one thing I would suggest too is, the people that she is like super close with, use them as kind of a reference of, or at least to kind of find somebody that maybe the person that they're utilizing can either help her out too, or if they know somebody who is reliable that can help out, rather than looking, aimlessly at random people who with some kind of resume that you have no, reference of how good they actually are.
Yeah, look for a reference.
As someone that has trust issues and stuff, I get what Doki is going through. Like, she has been betrayed so many times, so I get what's going on. I may not. I don't know the extent of the situation because that's behind the scenes. But I get the trust issues, like,
Yeah.
because I am someone that has trust issues too.
Yeah,
So,
you're putting yourself in her shoes, and you guys have the same shoe size.
yeah. I mean, she has a bigger shoe, right? But
oh yeah, definitely. She has a different brand of shoe, but yeah.
yeah.
She's got Nikes on. You got Skechers. Got it.
Yeah,
For me, I would say like if I had to say I had trust issues, it would be towards like leadership within a company because of my experiences. Which KhunShawn, you know what I've gone through.
Yeah. Bro got did dirty by his previous employer, like literally done dirty. It's crazy.
Mind you, I was an operations manager, and I got done dirty super hard. I'm not going to go into details on that, but like I have very strong feelings regarding like HR departments and upper management.
Understandable. Kaya, do you have anything you want to share? You've been quiet for like 10 minutes.
I'm just letting y'all talk, But no, yeah, as I already said before, like she's putting herself through all this work now. Again, it's not healthy. It's understandable why she's going down this route, considering her previous employer and now this happening. But at the end of the day, it's something that she has to trust people. Can't live life not trusting people. You're gonna burn yourself out one way or another.
Yeah, you need help when it comes to, I mean, just humans in general. We're a communicative species. We need help for a lot of things, whether it's a business or somebody needs to feed you and teach you how to wipe your ass,
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's basically it.
I think overall, I will say that even though Doki's going through business issues, I think she'll succeed in the end. She seems very determined. She has a strong, loyal fan base and community. I think she'll be all right. When it comes to Nijisanji, they are messing up a lot, inconsistently, and all the time. Uh, I think at the end of the day, Doki will be all right. The people in Nijisanji, I am interested to see what happens with their careers after their Nijisanji contract. Because if they could also flourish or succeed if it's in entertainment, then I think it'd be cool to see. But for two, I think it'll open up the door to have even more conversation on the topic that happened in the past, that happened 6 months ago. You know, if they were to ever engage in that discussion ever again, when they're not, chained down by a corporation or being forced to do something from a corporation. If they ever leave, that is, like, who knows? They might want to stay. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right.
I mean,
So,
is there anything more to add though?
no, I think that's it, man. I think
I can
that's
go with the topic.
that's the whole conversation. Honestly, yeah, it was just a discussion, a conversation about it. We have hit our hour mark, so we can wrap it up unless you guys have something you want to add.
I have nothing else
Anything?
to add, so
All right.
Lionheart, you have anything?
I still think Kakashi is overrated.
How dare you? Get off my podcast. I'm about to kick him out. All right. Well, that's the KhunShawnVT podcast, man. We're just having, honestly, remember, we're not trying to get to the bottom of anything. We're just having a conversation. And it's also open. It's an open conversation. So the comment section, if you guys ever wanted to chime in or tune in, I am still thinking about doing these live. We just, if anything, we're just trying to build up the audience. I want people to realize it's just more open conversation. And it's cool to have guests on. Lionheart, I appreciate you coming on and bringing up your perspective and things you think about what happened and your perspective in general, since you have been out of the loop, yet you still were able and confidently able to share your opinions on what you think about what happened or what could have happened. We talked about what should have happened, them talking about their situation and their issues, right? We have no idea. At the end of the day, that's the point of just having the discussion. Like, we don't know, but these are perceptions and perspectives that you could probably put into your own brain. And if you have something else that you want to share personally, leave it in the comment section below. You guys have anything to add before we wrap up?
I just wanted to share things mainly. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, what I was saying was mainly I wanted to share things because I feel like, and you mentioned this too, that it's a very emotional driven conversation. And the thing is that a lot of people will get emotional and side with something based on how this sounded, based on the tragedy of it, without fully thinking or being open minded to well, what really happened, or why did this happen? And too many times I've seen in different mediums where people will just jump the gun because of some emotional thing, or because the majority is emotional about something and they're not willing to think about the why.
That's big. That's true. Yeah. Just because you're the majority doesn't mean you're always right. There's always question marks. There's gray areas. Not everything's black and white. All right. That sounds good. That's everything. Masashi, you have anything to add?
Not on my part.
Okay. Chaotic. Okay. All right. Well, that's the pod. Thank you guys for watching. It's an interesting episode, and I can't wait to have more. I'm going to have more guests as well, sharing their perspectives on the VTuber community, culture, and history, and maybe even the future of what's going on and what might happen and what has happened and how it happened and why it did happen. And at the end of the day, It's just a conversation. It's your boy KhunShawn. Shout out to my amazing co-host and my awesome guests, Lionheart, Chaotic Flow, and Masashi Fukatsu. Check out their links down below if they do have links. Chaotic probably not gonna have a link yet. Lionheart, do you have a link? Do you have anything you want to do online, like record videos or stream or?
To be honest, man, like I would love to get into all that stuff. I just don't have the time right now. Hopefully, if I can get put on grave shift, I can.
Okay, well there it is. We'll see in the future. We'll definitely have you on more, especially if you feel like you have something you want to add to any conversation about VTubing in general, because you've been around for a long time, and I appreciate you being a good friend to me, and it's nice to have you around, brother.
Hey, same to you, man. Honestly, like I would love to do these more often because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching some of your videos that are kind of like either a week or more old, and I'll be like, damn, I wish I could have been in that conversation to say some shit.
Yeah, same for everybody watching. Like, if you guys ever want to have a conversation, just let me know, hit me a message, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll discuss it with the boys, and we'll see if it's like something to put online to everybody else. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. And we will see you guys on the next one. Yeah, make sure you hit the like button. Like, subscribe, join the Discord, link down below. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.